Hey guys, this is Mitch with 5 Point CGI, and today we're going to talk about how to use drag and drop inside of Godot. So we're going to go through and talk about how do we handle JPEGs and how do we drag JPEGs into our stuff, how do we handle text, how do we handle video, and how do we handle MP3. So it should be a pretty quick tutorial, and it's actually a really cool feature, so I'm happy to share it with you guys. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first thing that we need to do to be able to do drag and drop is create a script. So let's head up to our user interface here and let's go ahead and zoom in here. Now I'm going to right click my control node and attach a script, and I'm going to call it drag and drop. Now, when you're doing drag and drop inside of Godot, it's actually relatively easy. First things first, all we have to do is hook up to the signal for drag and drop. And in order to use it, you need to actually get a hold of your window. So it's the window that you drag stuff into, and then you can basically look for that signal from there. Now, the simplest way, providing that you don't have multiple windows popped up, is to type get underscore window, and that's going to pull back your main window. And then all you have to do is type dot files dropped dot connect, and then we need to pass it to a function. Now, I don't need this process, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that out, but we need to make a function for this. So func on files drop, like that. And it's going to pass in an array of strings. So we'll say files colon array, like that. And then for now, will just print out those files. So that way we just know what we passed in. And now I can just pass this in and say on files dropped, like that. And I will go ahead and save this. Now, you'll notice that I already have a couple of code here. This is just for my clipboard stuff that I did earlier in the week, but I wanted to do drag and drop because that was a common question that I received from some people. So I just want to make sure that I cover this, right? So once we have this, we'll be able to hit play. If I click on my Finder, I can drag these guys in here, let go, and you will see that you get an array of objects. You actually have the exact file path to the objects that you bring in. Now, that's pretty much really all you need to know. So you could actually stop the tutorial here and you know how to do drag and drop. But as with most of my tutorials, let's actually make something useful out of this. So how do we handle multiple file types? How do we handle all of those things? Well, that's where a bit more post-processing is going to need to come in. First things first, I'm going to say for I in files, colon, and then I'll say if file I dot ends underscore with JPG, so it's going to be a .jpeg. So if it ends with a .jpeg, then we'll be able to process it as if it's an image. And the way to handle an image is just to go var image is equal to a image dot new, like that. And then we'll need to actually load that image in. So we'll say if image dot load, and we'll pass in that file path. So I is equal to OK. Then we can actually go ahead and process this. So basically, we're just loading that image into memory and then getting it ready. And once we have it in memory, then we can actually create it into a texture. Now, to do a texture, it's actually pretty easy. Var texture is equal to image texture dot create from image. And then we'll pass in our image like that. And then from here, we can actually spawn it, right? Now, I'm going to use a sprite 2D, but you guys can technically use whatever you would like. If you want to use a image texture or a sprite, that's up to you. In my case, I'll say var sprite is equal to sprite 2D dot new. And then we'll just attach our texture. Sprite dot texture is equal to texture, like that. And then we'll add a child. And we'll add in our sprite. Now, when we do this, it's going to spawn at 0, 0, so we might not necessarily want that, right? So what we can do is come in here and say sprite.position is equal to, and we can pass in some kind of position. Now, what I'm going to do is get my mouse position because that's probably going to be the easiest way to do it. So get viewport dot get mouse position, like that. And that's going to allow me just to kind of drag it in, and it'll know where to place it. Now you can also come in here, and I actually spelled texture wrong. Texture, thank you. So I'm going to hit refresh, and we're going to reload. And then I will click on my Finder, and I'm going to grab this picture right here that I took, and I will drag it in and let go. And you'll see, there it is. So it's the bottom of a laptop, and there you go. And that's basically all you need to do. So the best part about this is that you can basically just drag and drop in the things you're looking for. And now you might be wondering, okay, so we can load a JPEG, but how can we load like an audio file? Well, that's actually really simple. All we have to do is come in here and say if i.ends_with quote.mp3 : and then we can basically load our audio stream. So in order to load an audio stream, first things first, we need to create an audio stream player to play that audio stream. So we'll say var audio player is equal to audio stream player.new. And then we have to create a stream, okay? And creating a stream is actually really easy. Well, first I'll say audio player.stream is equal to, and I'm going to create a function. So I'm going to say load mp3, like that. And I will pass in my file path. So I'll pass an I. Now I'm going to create a function. So func load mp3, and I will pass in a path, like that. Now this load mp3 is just going to load that mp3 and create an audio stream and return it. So we'll say var file is equal to file access dot open, and we'll pass in our path. So path, comma, and then we have to do a type of file access. We want to go with read. Now, once we have this, we can actually load the sound from that file. So we'll say var sound is equal to audio stream mp3.new, and then we can load that data. So sound.data is equal to file.getBuffer file.getLength, like that. Now it's just going to load our entire data that we have inside of that file, if that makes sense. And then we'll return our sound. And now you can see here, since we're loading our MP3, we have our stream. All we have to do now is just play that sound. So we'll add it as a child, like so. And then we'll type audio player.play. And that's going to play the sound. And I will come in here and play a sound. So let me grab my OBS right here, turn on volume, and let's reduce it quite a bit. That way I'm not blowing out your guys' ears. And let's hit play and then drag in an MP3 file. So we'll hit play. And then I'm going to drag in this free MP3 right here. We'll drag her in. And you can see it is now playing the sound. So that's how you can actually load in audio sounds really easily inside of Godot through code by doing drag and drop. And now you might be wondering, okay, cool, right? How do we handle video? Well, that's also really easy. So all we have to do is go if I ends_with, and then we can go dot. And in our case, we're going to want to use the OGV format. And the OGV format is the video format that Godot supports. Godot doesn't really support too many video formats, but OGV is pretty much the only one that I know of that they support, at least as of right now. They used to support WebM, but they deleted support with Godot 4, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, to do this, it's actually pretty easy. We'll just come in here and say var video player is equal to video stream player.new. And we'll say var video stream is equal to video stream. And you'll see that we only have one that's just Theora. So we'll do that .new. And then we need to load that file in. So video stream dot file is equal to I, and then we will go ahead and say video player dot stream is equal to video stream. And then we'll go ahead and set our position. So video player dot position is equal to our get viewport dot get mouse position, and that's just going to pull back our mouse position. So wherever we drop it, it's going to instance in that video. And granted, the video is probably going to be a little bit too large, so if you want to, you can come in and rescale it or something like that. But in my case, I'll just leave it as is. And then what we can do is adjust our scale just a tiny bit because we don't want it to be too big. So video player dot scale is equal to a vector 2, and I'm going to go with like a 0.2 comma 0.2. That's not exactly scientific, that's just me coming up with a number. And we'll say add child, and we will add our video player like that. And then we can do video player dot play. And in theory, I should be able to hit play and drag in my screen recording and drop, and you will see that it has my video. So if I drag this in, there you go. You can see there's a little bit of animation. The clock is moving. You can't quite see it so well because it's a little bit too small. So maybe something like 0.5 would probably work a little bit better. So let's refresh that. And I'll drag and drop in a screen recording here. And you can see that little guy moved and the clock is moving. It's really hard to see, but you can at least see that some of the stuff is moving. So it is playing the video, which is awesome. So that's how you can load in video as well. So those are three of the major formats that are available to you. And the last one that typically you're going to be handling is text files. So I will show you guys how to do that, and that'll be the last one I show you guys. But text files are actually really easy. All we have to do is say if I.ends with quote.txt, and we'll go ahead and say var file is equal to file access.open I comma read like that, and then if file colon var text equals file dot get as text like that, and say file dot close, because we want to close out our file so that way we're not holding that open in memory. And then we'll just create a new label. So var label is equal to label dot new, and then we'll say label dot text is equal to the text that we pulled in. And then finally, label.position is equal to, you guessed it, get viewport.get mouse position, because we're going to set it right to where our mouse was located. And then at that point, we can just add it as a child. And there we go. So now, in theory, we should be able to drag in this text right here. Drag it in. And there is all of our text right there. Hey guys, Editor Mitch here. So one other thing I wanted to discuss really quick before I close this out is don't forget you can do multiple things. So if I want to drag these two in, or even these three, you'll see that it drags in the image and the video, and the sound and the words here. So that's just something to keep in mind, is that it does work with multiple stuff. So if you want to put that in, you're definitely capable of doing it. So anyway, I just want to let you guys know that that is a thing, and we'll get to the outro. Thanks, guys. So that's primarily how you handle drag and drop inside of Godot. So it's relatively easy, and basically with this, you could use this to load a myriad of other things, CSVs, JSON files, things like that. And all you have to do is basically copy this and then process it slightly differently, and then you would be able to use it as a drag and drop system. But that is pretty much all I have for you guys today. So if you like this video, go and hit that like button. Hey, if you dislike this video, go and hit that dislike button, because I'm here to make content for you guys. This video was a viewer suggested video, so if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below, or jump on my GitHub, link is in the description, and put in a ticket, and I'll be more than happy to take a look at it. I am still working on a Nakama tutorial about self-hosting, and I am working on a how to create a iOS extension or like a plugin for your iOS games and things like that. So look forward to those. And hey, if you have any questions or comments about this tutorial, please leave in the comments below or jump on my Discord. Links in the description for that. And anybody there will be more than happy to help you out. But that is all I have for you guys today. So thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you all next time. Thanks.